Our first presenters are going to be Jenie and John Hunter. We're so excited to hear from them. They were your typical BYU, meet at BYU and get married. They've been married for 33 years. They've raised 6 children. They currently live in Tampa, Florida. Jenie works as a faith and family coach, and John works in the banking industry. And right now, John is serving as a stake president, and they can't wait to get called to their dream calling as co-Sunbeam teachers. So please give them a warm welcome, and we'll go ahead and have them come up.
I figured I should wear the same outfit so you could recognize me.
Well, I'm thrilled to be back. I got to speak to you guys last year, and John does this a lot. He speaks a lot professionally and at church. I do this some, but we've never done this together, so this might be a one and done thing. So
Might be a hot mess.
yeah,
so.
we will see. This morning we woke up to a text from our 15-year-old saying that she was crouched in the corner of her high school classroom with the teacher barring the door, and that they had an active threat on campus. And so just a half hour ago, we got word that she's fine and they've released her, but all through this conference, you know, I'm checking my phone as the helicopters are landing at the high school, and the SWAT dogs are coming in, and she's texting me saying, you know, I just got escorted to the bathroom with like 5 sheriffs, and like all this stress I'm feeling. And you wouldn't have known it, right? Like if I said hi to you, you had no idea what was going on in my mind. And for like 2 hours, we didn't hear anything from her, which made me really stressed during David Butler's thing. But we eventually got to hear from her. But I feel like it was kind of God telling me to remind me, because our son came out 12 years ago. And it brought back the same type of stress that most of us feel when our children come out, where you can't do anything, you're worried about what's happening, you don't know what the future's going to bring, and I just added this, and you still have to function, you still have to move with life, and it just felt very familiar. And I think the Lord wanted to remind me, remember how it felt, Jenie, because this is how some parents are right now. And I want you to know, 12 years in, we have on that you can grow stronger and your relationship grows stronger, and it does, but the stress is real, and it does hit the family.
Yeah, we weren't prepared 12 years ago. We kind of knew from a young age that our son was gay. At least we had a suspicion. When he was really into diamonds and really into Fabergé eggs and other things, other pieces of jewelry. And he's super artistic. He's a super creative kid. He's really amazing. But he has all kinds of talents. One time he said to me, "Dad, will you draw the General Grievous's ship from Star Wars?" And I'm thinking, I'm not even sure I know who General Grievous is, but he'll have no idea what it looks like. I'll just draw a ship. And he's like 6 years old at this time, and I start drawing, and he's like, "No, that's not how it looks at all." And he picks up the pen and starts drawing, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember that ship. You know, that's it." So that was our son, and we had such high hopes and dreams for what we thought he was going to accomplish, for how creative he was, and how strong he was, and how articulate he was. And you know, we had this vision of mission and marriage in the temple and this continued strong relationship with the gospel of Jesus Christ through the LDS Church, and that quickly changed for us when he came out. One of the great things about when he came out was that he came out to my wife. I want you to know how impressed and proud I am of her and the work that she does in this community. When we went through this, we didn't have anyone to turn to. And now we look at this group and realize we have all these parents here who are supporting their children through this effort. how great would it have been 12
Yeah,
years
we
ago if
couldn't
we had
even
kept
imagine
that.
this, honestly. Like, nobody in our family, nobody in our ward. It was very isolating. So if you have felt alone, you're not alone. You're not alone. Look around you, right? Like, and what I have found is working with so many families, and I said this last year, but I'm going to reiterate it because it's important. Only amazing parents get LGBTQ children because it's a lot and you can handle it and you love like no other people love. And so I really feel like we were called to this particular area of the vineyard because of the way you think and of your hearts.
Yeah, we want to talk about 4 different mindsets that have to happen in a family to be able to be more effective at loving your LGBTQ child. When we went through this journey, we didn't really know what to expect. The first thing we thought is, oh, well, you know, maybe we can help change him, you know. Total wrong thing to do, right? And you know, oh, maybe if we just go to the temple more, or maybe, you know, we kind of went through all of these things that it's all so horrible to do, but we did, right? And we learned that through that whole time, the Lord very clearly spoke to us and said, He is mine. I know him. I love him. And I will redeem him. Your job is to love him. So we have 4 mindsets that we think are important for us as parents and family of LGBTQ children or siblings to go through. And the first is that we need to focus on each other's strengths, not our weaknesses. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
The clicker. Focus on, and I guess that's pizza, that's my weakness, so I guess that's why she put that up there. We've had one argument in our entire marriage.
Well, more than one.
No, but what I mean is we've had one argument consistently going through our entire marriage.
You know how there's one with every marriage that just keeps coming back? This one keeps coming back.
The argument is this: I am not a planner. I'm not a planner. I'm busy, I'm running 100 miles an hour all the time, and I'm like, what's next? Even in preparing for this, we had some arguments about my lack of commitment to participate in preparing for it.
Yes.
But that is one of my weaknesses. My wife is a fantastic planner. And what an awesome strength that is. I will tell you, the day that my son came out, my wife planned a lunch. And to put him in the environment where he could safely tell her. And she planned it out meticulously. And it was a blessing that you did that. And I am so grateful, because it was me, I just would have been like, are you gay? You know? And he probably would have said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. But she went through the planning. So what's important in a marriage or in a family relationship, if you're a sibling, is to understand that everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. I'm not a planner, but you know what I'm really good at? Is in the unplanned moments. When we have those hard moments, I can show up because I'm there at the moment, emotionally available. And so together, we make a pretty awesome parenting team. At least we like to think so. I tell people I way out punted my coverage. That's a football joke. But yeah, let me read the quote real quick.
John.
Yep.
Closer.
Oh, not close enough?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, gosh, I'm used to being almost too loud. All right, I'll hold it closer, thank you. What is that? Part of a happy marriage is benefiting from the differences between men and women, to receive strength through and be blessed by differences. We might think we want our spouse to have the same attitudes and qualities that we do, but differences actually strengthen our marriages. And we have to have those strong marriages and strong family interactions. We have to have that love to be able to love beyond our relationship.
Yeah, and a couple of thoughts that will help you through this is one of my greatest thoughts is whenever they're doing something that you think they're totally doing it wrong, I've had to really ask myself, when I'm thinking, I've only thought this occasionally, he's totally doing it wrong, I have to really add that question, who says? Who makes you the expert, Jenie? And that helps me then maybe see the strengths that I'm missing. So you really have to change the narrative of how you're thinking about each other and look for how their weakness is actually theirs. I always say a weakness is a strength overused, and they don't need two of you, they only need one of each of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So why don't we move on to the next one?
Okay, create a safe place. Like we said, there's lots of stress that comes in this. And you're not always going to show up as your best self. There are going to be moments where you are triggered, you didn't say the right words, you didn't react the right way, you will have shame with what you're thinking. Our son went through a lot of emotional issues, and honestly, there were some moments that I felt like I'm in the most abusive relationship and I can't get out. And I did not like him in some moments. And having people in your family, your partner, or somebody being able to be that place where you can process what is going on in your head without a layer of shame, being vulnerable helps you get to your better self, okay? Because you're not a robot, you're a human being, and you're going to act like a human being. We all have a very human moments where we wish we would have showed up differently. So being able to, we all have our ugly, right? Being able to be honest. I saw that in our journey where I was able to process my ugly with John and do it in a way where I couldn't, too close. Do it in a way where I was able to get through it, because you're not going to stay in those emotions unless you can process them. And it involves vulnerability. And this is the problem with a safe place, where I think where we would go to, we try to fix it for each other. And you rarely need that. You really just need somebody to listen, to validate that you're not a monster, that you're normal, and it's okay whatever you're feeling. And this also came up with church stuff. You know, I don't know about you, but once our child came out, church felt different. Things felt different. Doctrine felt different, and I had to process it. And I know a lot of those conversations in the beginning felt fearful for John. And, you know, in the beginning, defensive or trying to change my mindset, and he had to grow that muscle, and I had to grow the muscle with him of just sitting in the uncomfortable. And sometimes your spouse can't do that, or somebody in your family can't do that. Not that they can't get there, because it's a muscle we can all grow, but give your spouse space to do this. That's the most I would recommend when I work with couples. The more love you get wherever they're at, because what I have found is Heavenly Father is teaching all of us in this room, but we all have a different lesson plan for us, tailored to how our heart needs to be changed. So we're all learning, and we're all at a different space. But the more latitude and space we give each other, the quicker we come to John's answer, where I've never worked with a family that didn't get that answer, you just love. Okay, and this is the third point, is tag team. There are going to be days where you cannot do it, and you make it a part of your marriage culture to say, I can't do it today. What can you do? We both assume we each are doing 100%. And when I say that, some days I'm showing up 10%. And that is my 100%. And so assuming that we're both doing as best as we can, and then when we are ultimately saying, I'm out, today I can't do it, giving that your partner that space to regroup, recalibrate, has been a huge asset for us. And not assuming that they, no shame around that, but just, we all have a little bit of emotional capabilities, and some days you can be more into it, and other days you can't.
Yeah, we found that it was really important to ensure that we did that in a way that wasn't shameful. So one experience we had is we were all going out to dinner and things weren't going well at home, and my wife just said, you know what, you guys go. And my first reaction was, we're not gonna go without you. And then I realized that no, like, she just needed space. She needed a little bit of time. And it wasn't that she didn't love our son or love the situation, and realize that the Lord is stretching and growing us at that time.
Yeah.
But the ability to do that in a safe way, it took me time to learn that. But having learned that and able to give her space, and she does the same thing for me. I walk in from work sometime emotionally exhausted already, and she doesn't just, dump, right? She looks and she waits, and then if there's a time where I need to step in, I'll step in. But it's been super, super healthy, and us, and the fact is that we trust each other. We've built in a relationship knowing that she's doing all she can do, I'm doing all I can do, and we're gonna make it work.
And we're not mind readers, so be honest with each other about when you need space. I know you're so deep in your struggle that you think everybody sees I'm struggling, but we don't. So get better about being honest with being really articulate what you need. And in that moment, I needed them to all go, and it was good.
Yeah, and it was great when we got home, she was happy, and we were ready to go again. All right, this is the last point. And to me, this is kind of the key to the whole thing. We have to know that we're all on the same page. At the end of the day, we all want the same outcome, right? We want our kids to be happy and healthy, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. We want our kids to have good lives. We want them to be successful in the things that they strive and the goals that they set. Like, we're absolutely on the same page. What happens sometimes is we get stuck not focusing on what the outcome is, but on the journey. And what we find is there's lots of different ways to help and get to an outcome. I'm going to tell two stories real quick, if I can tell them quick. The first is I have a friend of ours who's very meticulous at how she does things, and we went over to their house and we were cooking dinner together, and she asked us to cut an onion. Just chop an onion, just so I can throw it in and kind of saute it in a pan. So we started chopping the onion, and then the response was, "Oh, no, you're doing it wrong." Like, there's lots of ways to chop an onion. You can go vertical, then horizontal, you know what I mean? You can go on the side. Like, at the end of the day, you cube it, and you put the cube in something, and it all adds flavor to the dish, and it's wonderful. The outcome is having the onion in the dish. And the way that you cut the onion is not nearly as important as the fact that you actually have onion in the dish, right? Do you get that? So, what is the outcome we want? So, one of the discussions that we've had in our marriage is around when we send kids off to college. I had an experience in college where I wasn't as happy as I wanted to be because I felt trapped. Because I didn't have a car, there was no Uber, very little transportation where I was going to school, and I was just stuck in that dorm room. And so for me, to give my kids a great college experience, I want to make sure they go with a car. To Jenny, she's like, that's a $40,000 mistake.
It's all about the wardrobe and the dorm room, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so what we've learned is the way I want to do it and the way she wants to do it, the answer is it's okay. They're both okay. Like, they both come to the same outcome of helping our kids have a better experience in college, right? So working together, it's an argument that we didn't have to have because we could just say, okay. I love this quote from Elder Kieran, and I think it's so relevant for us here. And I know it's relevant specifically for my relationship with my son. He says, everything about the Father's plan for his beloved children is designed to bring everyone home. Infinite means infinite. Infinite covers you and those you love. I have a testimony that the Lord will redeem my son at some point. And we're already beginning to see it work on him. He's moving to California this week. And he's starting a new chapter in his life. And we're leaving here tomorrow, and we're going to fly and set up his dorm room. No, it's not a dorm room, but we may as well be. To get him settled. And he said, Dad, please don't leave without giving me a priesthood blessing. 7 years ago, we would have never heard those words out of his mouth. The other day he told us he was nervous and thought maybe his house was haunted. And he said, so I read the Book of Mormon and I prayed and those feelings went away. Like the Lord is working on him. And his journey is different than my journey, which is different than Jenie's journey. But we know that the Lord has him, and our job is to love him.
Yeah, and I see this come up a lot where two spouses are disagreeing how to bring their child to Christ, whether to church or as things of our normal practices happen. And when that happens, that's where I would take you. What is the outcome? And the outcome that we all want in this room is for our children to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, to know Christ and have that relationship. And it is like that quote, many roads lead to the same Mount Fuji, right? And what I think I've learned, and probably if you were up here, you would tell your story, you've learned Christ is bigger than the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? He is ruthlessly seeking our children. And our part in it is honestly this, creating that home, that marriage, that happy home that they are. Sometimes the only thing you could do for your child is to be the example. And our son has said that to us over and over again, like this is the marriage I want. This is the home I want. He's not going to church these days. There's things like he's asking for these things, but it's a slow process back. But only sometimes we're very powerless with our children's agency, but you're never powerless with your example and your relationship with Jesus Christ. So that has, and I don't want to undermine how powerful that is in your child's life. It is huge, and it will anchor them and bring them back to our Father over and over again. And I say these things, I said Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.